Welcome back to Goodfellas Garage, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to do a quick update about the 2002 Ford Crown Victoria LX Sport. Let's get started. A lot of you have been asking me about the LX Sport. I'm getting a lot of messages on Instagram and emails, etc., from people who were really curious about that car, whether I sold it, if I still have it, and what happened to that car. And if you have ever watched the series from the beginning, there have been several videos about the car and the work that I have done to it. The quick update, the bottom line is that the car is still here. Well, it's not physically here. I don't have it. I actually haven't seen that car in 2 months. And this LX Sport and this Crown Vic in particular has been a bane of my existence. I have never had a car like this ever before in my entire career in the car business, or my entire career just as a car enthusiast. I have never experienced anything like this before. And the issue with the car is nobody knows what the issue with the car is. It just won't stay fixed, and it's just a very temperamental car. And I have so far sunk over $10,000 into this car, not including what I paid for it. I have a stack of receipts of the work that have been done, the parts and this and that, and every time somebody comes in to look at a car, it starts acting up, and the issues just continue. And I actually sold that car 3 times. Every time somebody would come in, would be really interested in the vehicle, and something would happen to it, and it would just reset to go back to zero. And if you have watched some of the previous videos, you know that I purchased that car probably about 6 months ago. I had this car, for about 6 months. It's a 2002 LX Sport, very rare car, all original paint, all original interior, only 40,000 documented miles. Yes, they're documented miles. You can go to Carfax, you can go to AutoCheck. Every year the car was registered, the mileage was taken down. I have service records from the previous owner. And it's a very nice car, and that's the problem with this with this Crown Vic. It's a beautiful car inside and out, and it just won't stay fixed. And one of the issues in the beginning when I first got the car was that it had a high idle. And if you recall, I replaced the idle control valve. I bought a brand new OEM valve from Ford. I replaced it. That kind of sort of fixed the issue, but the core of the problem still remained. Okay, so what was happening with the cars when you started up cold, it would go to very high idle, like 1500 RPM, 2000 RPM, and it would stay there for about like 10-15 seconds, then it would die down. And if you tap the gas pedal, the idle would increase again, would stay there, and then die down, and which was very, very strange. So if you put the car in drive and start driving, it felt as if the throttle was stuck. The car was like accelerating on its own. So I replaced the idle control valve. I took the car to a couple of shops, and they suspected a vacuum leak because it was throwing check engine light. It was throwing 2 codes for oxygen sensors, car running rich. So I replaced the fuel filter. You saw it in one of the videos. I replaced the air filter. I cleaned the mass air filter, and the problem persisted. So one of the shops recommended you change the throttle body. We did that. We changed that. We put another one on there, and same problem. We changed the throttle position sensor. Same issue. Tested for vacuum leaks. I even purchased a tool, like a smoke tool, like a fumigator kind of deal. You stick it into one of the ports, and it pumps smoke into the system to see if there's a vacuum leak somewhere. No vacuum leaks, and the problem persisted. Then what started to happen is that the transmission started slipping out of overdrive, and you may have seen that video. I started doing some work on the transmission. I suspected that the overdrive servo was bad, was broken, or the snap ring was broken. So I took apart the transmission, not all the way. I removed the valve body, and I inspected the overdrive servo, which was fine. I replaced it anyways. I put a new valve body, a brand new OEM from Ford, and the problem persisted. So I took the car to a transmission shop, a good transmission shop, who rebuilt the transmission, and exactly the same problem. So the transmission is slipping out of overdrive. Long story short, they rebuilt the transmission 3 times, and the final and 3rd time they put a brand new case from Ford. All the internal, everything was brand new inside the transmission, and it seemed as if the transmission was fixed. And I made a video about that. I was driving the car, it's like, it's shifting fine, everything's working fine. And I kept the car for about a week. I just wanted to make sure everything's working correctly. Because I don't want to sell a car to somebody who's gonna break down and it's gonna come back. I don't need that. So After about a week, it started doing it again. It started slipping again, and eventually what happened is that it wouldn't shift out of first gear at all. So I had the car towed back to the transmission shop, and this is the 4th time already. So they dropped the pan. They're like, listen, we don't know. We don't know what the problem is. We rebuilt it 3 times. Everything's brand new. There's no broken pieces. There's no debris. There's no metal. Like, we don't know what the hell the deal is. We suspect that the computer might be bad. And the computer tests okay. It communicates all the modules. It seems to be working fine, but there's probably some kind of issue with it. And what they told me is like, listen, we'll put a new computer on there. If it doesn't fix your problem, you owe us nothing. If it fixes your problem, you owe us for the new computer. I'm like, you know what? Fine. Sounds good. Sounds fair. So they get a new computer. Well, not new. Rebuilt. The new ones, you cannot buy them anymore. They're obsolete. We get a remanufactured unit from AutoZone. We install the computer. They program the computer. All the problems go away. The high idle goes away. The transmission slipping problems go away. The car runs like butter. It runs absolutely beautiful. No problems whatsoever. I am happy. It's like, finally, we fixed it. I get the car, I bring it here, I park it here, and I advertise the car. Everything's working fine. A potential customer comes in, like within the day. I get a bunch of phone calls. Somebody comes in, looks at the car, loves the car. We take it for a test drive. It starts misfiring. It starts running like crap. And it doesn't throw a check engine light. So typically with these earlier like coil unplugged systems, the Ford, the way they program the PCMs, there has to be a really, really severe misfire for the check engine light to come on. So I've faced this problem before. I know the symptoms, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna change all the coils, I'm gonna change all the plugs. I order all new parts, original OEM, of course, all new plugs. I gap them correctly. I installed them. The car runs fine, runs butter smooth, no problems whatsoever. So at this point already, the first buyer, walked away. I get a second guy. Somebody comes in, again, looks at the car, loves it. Take it for a drive, same problem, runs like crap. So I tow it to a shop. They look at it, they inspect it. It's like, we can't find a problem. Everything's okay. I don't know what you're complaining about. The car runs fine. There's no codes. It's okay. So maybe like a bad gas or something. I was like, you know what? Maybe. I put a tank of premium in it, put some injector cleaner. The car runs fine. No problems whatsoever. Butter smooth, everything works. Transmission shifts, AC is ice cold, fine. I get a third guy. Third guy comes in, looks at the car, loves it. It's like, let's take it for a test drive. Let's take it for a test drive. Go to crank the car, won't start. So that's the third time I supposedly sold this car, and I had it towed to a shop. I suspected it was probably a fuel pump. I could hear the fuel pump running when you turn the ignition on. It sounded like a cat dying. So take it to a shop. I was like, listen, I think it's a fuel pump, take a look. So they do their diagnostics. They put a fuel pressure tester on the rail, get 10 psi, most likely the fuel pump. Put a new fuel pump on there, guess what? Won't start again. So long story short, the car was at the shop for, I don't know, probably about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that. They spent so much time on it. They're like, we don't know. We don't know what the problem is. We have no idea. It's an intermittent issue. Sometimes it has sparks, sometimes it doesn't have sparks, sometimes it has pressure, sometimes it does have pressure, sometimes it starts, sometimes it doesn't. We don't know. We don't know what the problem is. Like, how deep you want to go into this? It's like, fine. So I towed the car to a Ford dealer. It's right here in Pompano, Ford. It's been sitting there for about a month. And they call me last week. They're like, hey, the car's fixed. We fixed the car. We found the problem. It's like, yeah, I can't wait to hear this. So like, it's not that bad. It was a PCM relay that was going bad. And the technician replaced it with a good relay. The car starts fine, runs fine. We ordered a new part. We installed it. Whatever. The relay is like, it's like a fuse. So it's like $7 for the fuse. They charge me $250 to plug in a fuse, whatever. So like, the car's running fine. Come and get it. All right, cool. I go to pick up the car. I pay my bill. The porter was supposed to bring the car in. They tell me it doesn't start. So that's where I'm at. It's still sitting at the dealership. They have no idea what's wrong with it. They're gonna continue doing diagnostics, and that's the story of the LX Sport. I have never, ever in my entire life had a Panther platform car that gave me so much trouble. I mean, they do have issues, but they're typically predictable problems that all of them have, like blend door actuators, the intake manifolds crack, they're plastic, heater cores, stuff like that, I never had a car that gave me so many issues, and this is a nice car. This is not a flooded car. This is not a salvage car. This is a car that's sat in the garage its entire life. It's still wearing its original paint, still has all original interior. and I just don't know what to do with it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some of you can tell me. Maybe somebody has a pointer or some. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a mechanic. I know a little bit about these cars, but I'm just running out of ideas. I mean, I know at some point, I would have to either like part it out, or because nobody's gonna buy a non-running car, and I have so much money sunk into it. I'm at a loss. I'm at a complete loss. It's been to multiple shops, multiple mechanics, and nobody knows. So if you know anybody who can shed some light on this, let me know in the comments, or DM me on Instagram or whatever, email us to the website. But that's the story of the LX Sport. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Peace.